Hi, I'm Charles McBurney, Florida House of Representatives, District 16. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the First Coast Tea Party. When I first ran for the Florida House, I ran on fiscal responsibility, public safety, and stronger education. 2 weeks after being elected, we had the first special session to cut the budget. We went through very difficult times, but like families and businesses who go through difficult times, we cut what we had to cut and made the difficult decisions. Because we made those decisions, Florida, unlike Washington, D.C., met its constitutionally required balanced budget, met the critical needs of our state, cut capital debt, put $3.1 billion in reserves to maintain a AAA bond rating, and returned $500 million in tax and fee cuts to Floridians. As chairman of Justice Appropriations Subcommittee, a member of the Full Appropriations Committee, and a member of the Legislative Budget Commission, I played a key part to help put Florida's fiscal house in order. As a former assistant state attorney under Ed Austin, I understand the challenges of law enforcement. I've sponsored or co-sponsored numerous bills to fight crime, including making Florida the worst place in America for sexually violent predators or to combat gang violence. As chairman of Justice Appropriations, I played a key role in providing the resources necessary to fight these crimes. I fought to make our schools more accountable and to improve their performance by directing more dollars to the classroom and away from bureaucracy. During the time I served in Tallahassee, Education Week reports that Florida has been ranked from 31st in education to 14th to now, in 2014, 7th in the nation overall. I'm most proud to have been able to keep a pledge I made to Jacksonville voters by sponsoring and passing into law the state's civics education bill. This legislation, now in law, requires our public school students to learn about our republic, our unique form of government, including the heritage of liberty enshrined within our founding documents, the Declaration of Independence, and the United States Constitution. I've been proud of other legislation I've introduced and now into law, such as to eliminate hidden taxes on real estate transactions, and to upgrade, modernize, and make more competitive our business laws, providing businesses the flexibility to grow and to add jobs. We will face great challenges in the coming years. Intrusion of the federal government and pressures on the states must and shall be resisted. We must continue to maintain fiscal responsibility and the values which make us a great republic, and this will require experience and dedication. The First Coast Tea Party has showed these values and principles. I'd be honored to have your support. Thank you.
Do you favor or oppose implementing the Convention of States Amendment, and why?
I've been in favor of it, and I voted for it during this last legislative session. We actually in the legislature passed a memorial which made a formal application under Article 5 of the Constitution to hold a convention of the states involving the jurisdiction and power of the federal government, fiscal restraints upon the federal government, and in addition to that, put other limitations such as term limits. We also passed legislation, which I supported, which I voted for, which set up certain parameters in detail, some detail, for this Article 5 convention.
Do you support or oppose non-life-threatening aid to illegal immigrants from taxes and fees imposed on Floridians?
Well, I've taken some tough votes in Tallahassee when it came to illegal immigration. And so the short answer is no. We had before us in Tallahassee some legislation dealing with illegal immigrants for in-state tuition. I voted against that. And the reason I voted against it is because, to me, illegal immigration is illegal immigration. It was a tough vote because there was many others who voted against it, and of course I was in the minority. But I felt it was the right thing to do. It sends, to me, it would otherwise send the wrong message if you were to say that we should wink and do a wink and a nod when it comes to illegal immigration.
Thank you. The right to life issue is being fought in state legislatures across the country. What is your position?
Well, I'm pro-life. I do believe that birth begins at conception, and I've got voting record that stands behind that.
Where do you stand on the Common Core curriculum and the issue of data mining over 400 elements on our children with our loss of privacy on this data?
Well, there are some concerns dealing with Common Core, and I have some concerns when it deals with Common Core. The legislature, along with the governor, the governor, of course, took us out of the consortium, the park. The legislature passed bills relating to instructional materials, data mining, transparency in education, and so forth. The data mining bill dealt with certain aspects of children's privacy, such as social security numbers, which basically the law said could not be disclosed without parental consent. It's been brought to light that there may be some other areas dealing with data mining that needs to be reviewed as well, and I think that that is something that the legislature should strongly look at. The government has no business going into the privacy aspects of our children.
There are numerous records and reports of American history rewritten in Florida textbooks. Have you reviewed any of these examples, and what will you do to ensure the accuracy of historical text?
Well, as I mentioned in my opening, I am probably the strongest proponent of civic education, which includes aspects of our history. But it has to be the correct history, not the PC history or the revisionist history. It's been brought to my attention that there may be textbooks which don't comply with what the real history was of our nation. As I mentioned, the legislature passed a bill requiring that instructional materials be decided by the local governments. And I'm a firm believer that the local government, particularly the school boards, are the ones that should be making those decisions with parental consent. And part of that legislation was to allow a mechanism by which parents can make formal application, receive formal hearing for any questions that they might have for instructional materials. So I'm not a believer that the Department of Education, either on the state or the federal level, should have a say in it. But at the same time, if we put it in the hands of local control, we need to hold those folks accountable for what's put within our instructional materials.
Do you have any closing remarks?
The First Coast Tea Party has a history of strong values and strong principles. And those principles are based within our nation's founding documents, the Declaration of Independence, the United States Constitution. They believe strongly in the adherence to the Constitution of the United States, as well as the adherence to the state constitution. And I have been a strong advocate for that, for civic engagement and civic involvement throughout my legislative career. I think we hold those same values dealing with our Constitution, and those values dealing with fiscal responsibility and fiscal constraints within our government. I've done it before, and I will continue to do it. I'd be honored to have your support, and I'd be honored to have your vote August 26th.